Welcome to Landmark on Main Street. Very happy to have you here today for our afternoon tea program. My name is Amanda Kowalczyk and I'm the Manager of Community Affairs here at Landmark. I'd also like to welcome everyone who is joining us at home via live stream. We are thrilled to welcome today to the stage City Dance. They will be treating us with a variety of ethnic dances. We would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to Maureen and Joe Wexelblatt for sponsoring the afternoon tea program. It is because of Maureen and Joe that we're going to be able to continue to offer you these amazing programs every other week, absolutely free of charge. Please, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. As always, a special thank you to Serendipity for the delicious teas that you're enjoying today, and also a huge thank you to Holiday Farms for the amazing cookies that they are donating to us. And now, please sit back and relax and put your hands together for City Dance. Enjoy.
Hi everybody, my name is Michael Buoni, I'm the Director of City Dance New York. We're a company that celebrates many cultures because our company is comprised of people from all over the world. We started our company during the pandemic when many dancers were without work. And we decided to get together and create programming and try to bring people back to the theater and to celebrate dance. Dance is a very important part of human culture. In fact, dance is the purest form of expression. Before people could do anything in any culture, people can move together. You don't have to speak the same language to do the same movement. So dance is the purest form of expression. It's existed since the beginning of human life on earth. People have a natural desire to move and express themselves, and this expression is universal. So what makes dance unique is its ability to create community with people of all different cultures and languages. Everybody can speak the same language of movement. Dance has been a tool that cultures have used throughout history for communication, socialization, ritualization, celebration, and education. These are all important jobs that dance has accomplished. So we're bringing you dances from many different continents, and as you watch these dances, you can notice similarities and differences of the cultures that we're presenting to you. The athleticism and coordination are truly unique to dance. Many cultures have chosen their greatest warriors based on their ability to dance. From family celebrations to important social occasions, dance is an important part of everyone's life and reflects the uniqueness of the human being. Our relationship with nature and our creative spirit are truly in sync with dance. Please enjoy the show, and we hope you're inspired by our wonderful company, City Dance NY. her principal dancer, Nicole. She was just featured in our full-length, isn't she amazing? She was just featured in our full-length ballet, Snow White, which we performed, it was an original ballet we did in the city, the St. Jean's Theater. She was dancing the Tarantella. I don't know if anybody's Italian in here, but oh good, you got a little Italian in here, right? Well, the Tarantella is a spider dance. So in Italy, they got poisonous spiders. Look, I grew up with an Italian grandmother, and she had a couple little superstitions growing up. You had to boil, well, yeah, right, more than a couple. You had to boil, you couldn't eat mushrooms unless you boiled them with quarters, and then the quarters turned black. That's the only way you would know that you could eat a mushroom. I remember that for sure, so that's kind of odd. But they believe, some people, not everyone in the countryside, that spiders, you get bit by a spider, what are you going to do? Poisonous. So you dance fast, you dance furious, and you sweat the poison out, and then it saves you. So it's called the Tarantella, the style that she did. And it's also like some of the movements are to scare away the evil spirits, to keep everything safe. So the particular dance that she was doing comes from a special ballet based on the My Fair Lady story, Anueda, where this young girl, poor, goes to parties and dances to get attention and to make a little bit of money. So it's being restaged right now at the Bolshoi Theater. Now, the next dance we have comes from the Caucasus regions. So dance in the Caucasus has been a way to create social bonds, promote cooperation and social interaction within the communities. Collectiveness, rather than individualism, is the most important feature of dance to express a person's communal identity in the Caucasus cultural region. They have national traits that the dances demonstrate cultural identity in a contemporary urban society. Some traditional communities have strong local identity due to particular historical backgrounds, geographical isolation, and local customs. Religious celebrations, accompanied by dance, are occasions for these communities to unite and revive the identity of the community. So, Stuck by Love at Once has been an essential component of Caucasian culture. So this next dance comes from an ancient Struck by Love at First Sight. So it's from the origin from Cinderella, the ballet Cinderella, where the prince, having lost his beautiful, mysterious woman, searches the world looking for her. And he travels and he meets women all along his journey. And one of the women he meets comes from a place called the Orient. We don't usually use that word to describe this region. But at the time when this ballet was written, that was how we would describe it. So he met this princess who represents temptation. So Bridget Limonez will dance the role to this with the music composed by Sergei Prokofiev with choreography by Konstantin Sergeyev. So now we're going to go to the Crimea region of the world with the Tatar dance. Tatarsky, in the Tatar style, is a dance of the Kazan Tatars from the steppes of the Ural Mountains. The Tatars were a nomadic horse-riding culture, which was part of Genghis Khan's Golden Horde. The center of the Tatar Khanate was Baghchirai in Crimea, from which the Tatars have been reportedly, forcibly removed. The swift running and stomping movements suggest the stampeding of wild horses. The next dance we're going to introduce Nicole Fedorov again. She's going to dance the Russian Princess from Swan Lake, which epitomizes the Russian character. Happy and sad, wistful, nostalgic. Is anyone Russian in your background? Wonderful. Chinese ribbon dance. So the Chinese ribbon dance is a centuries-old dance that celebrates nature and human creativity. So the dance is performed at celebrations and festivals throughout China. The colorful ribbons reflect the joy of life. The flow and grace of the ribbons signify nature and its beauty, and the strength of the dancer controlling the ribbons and creating extraordinary designs reflects the power of human creativity. Ribbon dancing is popular in many countries, such as Japan and many countries in Europe. Many migrations of people from the Indian subcontinent to the West. So we're familiar with the Roma who migrated through Europe and established what is misnomered as the Gypsies. But there was an earlier large migration which went through Africa by a people called the Loma, who established a long-standing culture in the area. In fact, when the Roma arrived in Europe, they were mistakenly called Gypsies because people thought they came from Egypt. The next dance is an Egyptian dance. Spanish character dance from the ballet Swan Lake is one of the pieces performed at the ball where candidates for Prince Siegfried's engagement are presented to him, and where the Black Swan, the daughter of the sorcerer Rothbart, will appear. The music was composed by Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky, and the choreography is by Marius Petitpas and Lev Ivanov, with the latest revision by Konstantin Sergeyev. The role of the Spanish princess will be danced by Bridget Limonez. Comes from Ukraine, the Ukraine. So sorry. Podolyannochka is the name of the dance. So it comes from the Podol region of the Ukraine. So Ukrainian culture is known for its wonderful storytelling and its dancing. So this particular story deals with a young lass who is searching for love. She throws her hair bouquet in the river, and whatever young lad finds it will marry her. So the blue ribbon represents the sky, and the yellow ribbon represents the field. Ukrainian dances celebrate ritual, community, and a natural world. This dance is dedicated to the Ukrainian people and their hope in the face of war. Thank you everyone for joining us. So City Dance New York, we're like a newly established, we're going into our 4th season. Mostly what we do a lot of cultural outreach. We do arts and education in the city schools and also in Rockland County. We're looking to expand that. Doing lots of, we work with K through high school, working on cultural dances and then doing a show. And then we also do a lot of story ballets. We've done, I think, 8 so far. Coming up, we have Dracula, which is going to be scheduled to play in October in Manhattan. And then we have the Snow Queen, and then we're not sure what our spring show is going to be. But please check us out, citydanceny.org, and we also have an Instagram account at citydanceny. Thank you so much.
Great job. I tell my wife, so is culture. Yeah, you did great. I'm sorry? Oh, boy. So is culture. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, in Russia, they're always killing someone. I went to Russia.